said something about BLM T-shirts, but I can't remember what you said.
Why couldn't they? Why would they?
Wait, hold on, wait. Well, you can add your opinion. I want to know about.
Sorry.
If an independent person wanted to, if they wanted to provide a service for compensation because they're liberated and they have an independent view of the world and they're not going to be locked into these constraints.
They want to sell their art. Let's just say they want to sell their art.
Yeah, they want to sell their art in multiple ways. And every facet of the imagination.
Should
they be able to do that?
My friend literally doesn't
Show me that butthole art. Yeah.
So we're calling it art. Okay, so that's it.
No, we're not calling it art. We're talking about actual art. Start with actual art. No, yeah.
Okay,
So are they allowed to?
Okay, so what am I answering the question on OnlyFans or on art?
No. Okay, no. Stop trolling, Chris. Here, I'll make it this simple.
Nobody's trolling, kids.
You're meant to get it down and not sister.
Focus.
Let's
Very, very good.
Yeah, let Samoa land.
So I just said my questions are, or my comments are disturbing. I wrote my comments disturb. This room is a collection of severely disturbed and brain-rotted clowns.
To make a decision on valuing in a transactional relationship
I hope they
their
fix soon.
service.
We're an hour and 9 minutes into this hypnosis session.
Jesus didn't have a problem with Mary Magdalene, so probably yes.
All right, but Jesus isn't Chris, unless you know something we don't know. Correction.
Could be.
See, look at that blasphemy. Go ahead, Chris.
So, I mean, look, choice matters, right? But it's also what
Choice matters.
Because if someone is just choosing
Choice matters. Everything which is true is the exact opposite of what people say on here, which is amazing. If you were to make a collection of what people say and then invert it, you would always get to the truth.
Are you free to not eat?
Am I free to speak right now?
Yes.
That's a good question.
Ultimately, it comes down to that.
Because, is it at the least,
This is technically, wokeism is technically Karen hypnosis. That's what it is.
The no good one. So just saying it's their choice. I mean,
What's ironic is chillism shouldn't be called chillism. It should be called wokeism.
Sometimes it's just a way.
That's really what the real name of chillism is wokeism.
No one has a choice.
Stop cutting me off. Like, you just make it so, like, does anybody not recognize that? Like, the hypocrisy?
Yeah, I recognize it, bro.
I'm just saying, like, just let me finish my point.
Yeah, you
Let him go.
Yeah. So what you're witnessing is Chris being a centerpiece, which is well deserved. He is here in this slightly right-leaning room every fucking day, voluntarily, to be to confront the oppositional
projection alert
that you guys make against the ideologies that he subscribes to. Now, treat our centerpiece nice. You don't want to knock it off the table. Don't frustrate the centerpiece. Hold off.
I was
projection alert.
Everyone, like a detriment to everyone. What if it's saying things that will put others down?
Oh, well, I know we're not in the house right now, but speaking of the house, if you're not part of the house, go ahead and click the link up top. But it does say leave your feelings at that door. It says that right there on the house. Right there. Somebody spray painted it. Somebody spray painted it on the house, sister. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. So, I mean, like, let's just be real, right? No one grew up.
Let's be fake. I'll just give you the live play-by-play opposite.
Decisions, right? Most people don't choose prostitution out of freedom. Okay, they choose it because the system failed them. They couldn't figure out any other way to get by, make money, or what people validated about them, because poverty or trauma and a lack of options just, I guess, kind of cornered them in.
Okay, so, prostitution is you actually fucking the system because you're not paying taxes on that.
Harm and, I guess, harm. You know what I'm saying? We're just going to call that freedom. That's not really empowerment. I mean, that's just dressing it up exploitation to feel better.
The right to choose, empowerment. These are cultural Marxist woke.
Weird adaptation of the question that was asked. Would you answer his question though? I'm genuinely curious as to Because I actually have a friend that makes like it looks like those adults coloring books, but it's art. It's in essence it's art. He makes NFTs off of it. There's cryptocurrency and actual cash. So when it comes to that and being a self-monetized online influencer that could make money and be of his own volition, not pressured, not because it's like this is what the society has made me do. Just an artist selling his work. Should he or should he not, in a country where we have bolstered free, if we ever actually look at the brass tacks of free market capitalism, could he and should he be allowed to do
someone is
that?
recording this room and putting it on YouTube.
I think that if someone is coming from a place that is
There is a market, right, that allows women to sell themselves. And they don't do it because of necessity. It's actually a movement too. They call it the intellectual movement.
Chris, sometimes it's
No.
to hit on mute, so we might not be cutting you off.
Yeah,
It's a group of intellectual women who felt that. It's a group of intellectual women who felt that it would be cheaper instead of them going out there working. They can just sell their body, and that's what they do. They sell their body, Chris. They're not doing it because they found they was poor or anything like that. They're doing it because they enjoy having sex. That foolishness out of here.
Okay, Adrian Dittman is recording this room and I'm monetizing the chillism brain rot sufferers on YouTube. Thank you all.
Why don't you say, if you want to be a sex worker, if you want to have an OnlyFans account, you just be the best, strip sex star that you could ever be.
I raised 2 daughters. Hold on, Kitty. Like, stop. Jeez. Holy shit. So, I raised 2 daughters. I know that's a possibility that my girls, in the back of my head, may do something stupid on the internet, and that'll haunt them forever. Every parent's mirror
But
is
we're
that
saying
fucking
it's
shit.
not
So I'm gonna
stupid,
finish
Brad.
speaking. Oh my gosh! Can you shut up while I finish my point? Do I have to sound like you and that? Because quite frankly, your hypocrisy is fucking dripping. And you're
He's dripping!
So I have dialed it back because Holly and Nathan know I can go a lot harder than I am right now. This is just a mid-erection. This is just a chubby arm. So the idea that somehow you think we don't know in the back of our minds as parents that maybe our kids will do something. Maybe they'll commit a crime in which sinks Davy. Maybe they'll run somebody over and have to spend a life in jail. All this shit is what a parent thinks about when they're raising their kids. Did I teach them right? Are they going to be safe out there? Are they going to make the right choices? Questions 24/7, 365 and a quarter day a year. And it stays with us. Not when you get older, not when you turn 20 or 30. It's with us until we die. It is a permanent pain that sticks with you over and over and keeps you up in the middle of the night when something stupid pops in your head and you're worried. Now back to your could she do it? She had a choice. She could go be a fry cook at McDonald's. She could go find anything else. She could deliver newspapers. She could have
Deliver newspapers? Brad, what year is this?
The porn rock was because the lucrative money for the ease of work, which seems to be something you have been imposing on all this time, is saying, I just don't want to have to do anything and I want to achieve it. You stated that you won't do labor, you don't dirt under your nail, and you have a sub-hand. And you just want to sit there and contemplate. You want to be actual fucking Marx himself, the guy who lived off of a man and just wrote theories out in some fucking fancy home and had everything catered to him until he died in poverty after his golden ticket was punched. So, I mean, your thoughts on this are just really weird, and they aren't based in anything real. They aren't based in anything theoretical, and you don't have any kind of factual stats that even corroborates what you're stating, which is why you have people that are true liberals arguing against you, and why you have conservatives arguing against you, because it's this kind of midwit shit that pisses off. And the idea that someone has a choice between doing hard labor or laying on their back, spreading their legs, or showing their, who said it, booty hole on fucking OnlyFans, that's their choice. They have a choice. And the choice was money. They opted for more money.
Showing you hoo-ha.
Hard labor. You hoo-ha, whatever.
A booty hole was the word.
Yeah, hey Chris, lastly, bro, if society was more acceptable of it, it wouldn't be such a negative stigma. Right? So you're saying that, hey, would you allow your kids to do it or some dumb stuff like that. That doesn't speak to the full point of what we're talking about. They're not doing it because they're forced into it. They're doing it because that's their choice. They want to. They found a niche what they're good at. That's what any artist does. And if their niche is selling their bodies, the people are selling their personality, you gotta respect that, brother.
Honestly, though, it's a short-term gain for a lot of these people, so they can ruin the rest of their life. They just fucked up their marketability. They're less likely to get married. A lot of men are going to want to get involved with that. It's definitely going to fuck up their psyche. Like, it's going to, a lot of these women are destroying their lives so they can make.
Can I just,
a few bucks.
Oh, okay, go on.
Yeah, there's a lot of men that.
I was just saying, man, like,
There's
this
a lot
is
of
the
men
truth.
that don't care about body count, like Pops. Pops doesn't care about your body count.
Oh, okay. Rule 4 is dead. BT dubs. Doctor gets the layer, and then I'll go.
I was just trying to say, this is.
There's no rule 4?
No, there's no.
Which one was rule 4?
Oh, that's great.
Rule 4 was never step on the joke, and then people use that to interject. Yeah.
I have a joke. Can I cut the line if I have a joke? No. Oh, damn. All right.
Doctor, did you land?
So knock knock.
Oh.
Because I might shake the table.
No,
Okay,
I was just trying to say.
sorry.
I was just trying to say that, anybody who thinks it's a good idea to, sell their body on OnlyFans, they're definitely, they are destroying their overall body, in the long run. I think it's going to be a lot harder for them to get married. And then easy money's going to fuck them. Not many want to go get a real job. When they get older, which comes very fast, they lose their marketability. When they get about 45, 50, it drops down, and they're going to really be struggling.
When they're 45, 50? That shit's over, son.
Bad baby. Bad baby made $75 million.
Do feet count as
So that person, that's different. Okay, maybe they can maybe do something with that.
I actually think this has gotten away from the real point.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to say. I think it's interesting that we went from talking about the ways in which society still utilizes slavery, because we're not that mad about it, directly into sex work, which is often occupied by women. And so there's some connection, at least, to slavery and existing as a woman in our society.
We went from deforestation to OnlyFans.
Yeah, but can I just try because I'm going to take Chris's point. Chris's point was.
All of is the
I
dumbest.
understand.
Versus what?
I'm going to take Chris's. Oh, great. Chris's point was, I understand the situation, but because we can imagine a world, and I think it is fair to imagine that world, where this person is being exploited, this person doesn't want to do this, right? They just feel like they're forced to it in order to survive. Then I think the way he put it was, this is a person who has to choose between harm and harm, right? And I think that's actually a fair response, but it doesn't.
Come on, kick.
The question is, it goes back to this. Imagine this in a state of nature, right? A person is hungry, and in order to survive, they have to hunt. But hunting is hard. They don't want to have to hurt the animal, and their choices are to either harm the animal or they suffer the harm of starving, right? And again, this goes back to my point of, humans just have to have intake in order to survive. That's just our biology. That's just the physics of it. The physics of the world is there's no such thing as a free lunch, and you have to put in work to do the free lunch. Do you always want to do the work that you're doing? No, right? But the choice is either suffer the consequences of the universe, and the universe says entropy, therefore you starve to death, or put in work. Now, I'm not saying then that everybody should, do OF, right? That's not the point. The point is, because, and OF is higher up the food chain in the sense of, I think most people on there do have have more options to them, right? But even in like some slum third world country where someone truly has no choice but to do that or starve, right? And I feel for that person. I'm not saying I'm not happy about the situation. I'm just recognizing that there is no utopian solution. People have to cut the firewood to make the fire to stay warm. The world is not going to make the fire for.
Unless you live in California.
That's dying. That's ending.
The whole point of the start of the conversation.
Exactly, that's the whole point.
My argument is that the people that sit there and advocate for this, like utopia, that treat everybody like, what was the word, nanny or nana or whatever the fuck it was. They said we need to just treat each other that way, and it doesn't work that way. If there's
No one here has said anything intelligent for 1 hour and 22 minutes.
Food fabricator and an energy fabricated, if energy was free, then yes, that would be absolutely what I would advocate.
Actually, Kitty is probably the only one who got close to saying something intelligent about making money online.
And so somebody has to put in the work, and everything else tumbles out of that person having put in initial work and wanting something for it, right?
But again, you have to.
If you want to leverage your time,
I'll go after you. I'm gonna get my point in here. Like even the clothes on your back, the cars, the homes that you live in, you're not doing it. It comes at somebody taking a resource or guess what? Exploiting another nation or another area in order to garner those. The wood in your home, we don't generally do it from our backyard. We take it from Canada. We take it from South America, and we buy it cheap. We take it.
It all costs energy. It's just the price of energy.
And even our energy. I'm gonna finish my whole point before like all of you.
Yeah, this is a good point.
I'm at the brand.
You don't have any capacity to sit there and say, well, we should just treat each other. Because everything in your world is a fabric of someone like me going out there and taking from somebody else and exploiting that or conquering that or devouring everything in their area to bring it back home to you so you can sit there and question the meaning of life, putting fucking hand siphonage on your fucking junk and jerking off to OnlyFans, even though you find it abhorrent. Now, Nathan, you.
No, you can't, because I have a joke.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. Go. That wasn't a joke.
Oh. I think you just for your time to All right, so what I want to say,
Yeah, right. No, I want to say that. Let me turn over to what Chris was saying. I think he didn't articulate it well because he was talking about capitalism. He was saying that the individuals who want to go out there and sell their money, they're not doing it because they know about other options. They're doing it because this is their last option to them, right? They're not educated in such a way that they're not educated in such a way that they know how to utilize their minds so that they can change different paths different paths. So what they do is they take this first option, which is, hey, I got to do it for the money. So I think what he was saying was that just a necessary bad when you set up a system in which you can save money over your health, and you will always lead into conditions like this. You know, kids growing up saying that, hey, it'd be better for me to just sell my money other than using my money. And I don't think he just articulated that. I think that's what he was saying. But the unfortunate part is this. All the decisions we make, for like the Deweys, for the Brads, you didn't do that just because you wanted to do that, or it was your choice. There was the systems of capitalism that kind of pushed you in those directions, other than or influenced you into those directions, not you consciously doing it.
Nathan, can I respond to that? It actually was the system of socialism in this country that we employed pushed me into those areas. If it was a capitalism that pushed me, then I wouldn't need to work.
I wrote Nathan with a PH, not a TH. Nathan, who believes in the truth. He's explaining to us reality. Now you know who leads your low IQ room.
Produce or function within capitalism. They're just a consumer. They're the end result.
Thank you for doing that.
The people like Chris, I have to feed, I have to clothe, I have to shelter, they have to be able to buy those goods. They're buying from me. And in the end, what they want me to do is make sure I give them all of these services and all of these products and all of these things in order for them to have their way of life. And capitalism doesn't give me that luxury of it makes me have to go out there and build or work or compete with others. In fact, I actually have dependents because if they can't buy it from me, they turn around and go to the
we're at
government,
top of
and
the
the
day.
government
It's
turns
12
around and
o'clock.
buys it.
We've hit our heart out.
That's a social
We
system,
can no
not a
longer
capitalist
continue to
That's why we
engage
should
and put this
privatize
into our brain.
Hey, Bima, you gonna stay down here or what? Like, what are you gonna do, Bima?
Yo, protect the nature. That has nothing to do with you Americans.
Hey, man, we need to warm our homes in the winter. We need to be able to.
Yeah, I just gotta say that, like, I live in Canada. I'm the banana.
Canadians,
I'm
here
a
we go.
banana in the banana republic living in Canada. You can get paid $100 grand. You can be paid $100 grand a year and live like maybe for like $8 grand. You know what I mean? Like you're working a whole year, you're making like $8 grand after expenses and everything. Like I'm in a banana republic and I'm a human and I'm the banana You know what I'm saying?
Come to the U.S.
It's not Nigeria's bananas, but like you're taking.
Bro, what you're
like,
saying is so
Let
profound.
him finish, man. Come on. I want to hear from the Canadians.
Yeah, dude. Let me finish. You being an asshole for no reason.
Hey.
Why you gotta be a strawberry?
I don't care about your feelings, bro. It's not my
That's a banana
responsibility to take care of your feelings.
I thought I was gonna say, hey.
Hey, you're in control of your own feelings, so control yourselves, please.
You see what you're doing, Nathan? You see that? You're empowering people.
Nathan and I go back, bro.
They hit you with the A.
Go ahead, AK.
Hey, nobody caught it. That's crazy.
Yeah, essentially, that like Nigeria was enslaved essentially for 100 years for their bananas. Cuba's sugar was used for beer, and we used the sugar to make beer and added water, and we just gave them the beer 1-to-1. Like, just imagine, like the American Food Company that provides you all your food from all over the world is put people politically in charge to control these resources, kept the wages so low that they can't afford their own things that they make or grow. And it's like, you're just like missing that banana republic. You're also in that same banana republic. You just haven't realized that you're the bananas.
I think you're confusing rum with beer.
No, it was molasses. I actually
That
thought
would be rum. It wouldn't be beer. Beer came from Europe. Rum came kind of close.
beer can be made anywhere. Anywhere with.
Cuba is in the Caribbean.
I'm from Canada. 97% of tourism.
I guess they got it.
Hey. Who was next? Bima?
Yeah, thank you, Samoa.
Yeah,
I have
no problem. I got you.
a nice advocate. I appreciate it. Yeah, I think it's interesting. We're talking about, if just to highlight prostitution or selling your body, let's just say, for example, under different types of economic systems. Okay, worst case scenario, best case scenario. First, when you're trying to figure out what type of economic system we feel is best for society, we're looking at largely how much freedom do you have? How much choice is people going to have, right? There's the other things like, how are we going to, how fair are the resources going to be shared? How well are the resources going to be used? And then stability, organization, right? But mostly we're choosing because we want freedom. Okay. And so now if we take we'll take the three most, I'm not going to use like mercantilism. I'm just going to go socialism, communism, capitalism. We take all three of those economic systems and we say, okay, best and worst case scenario. Best case scenario, communism is it's out for play, right? It's been deployed, and it's a great system. Either way, communism would reject prostitution in all cases. Best case scenario, because that's exploitation, and that's the foundation of why communism would be communism, because of the exploitation. It's a fundamental principle. So under both best case scenario, worst case scenario, communism is not going to allow prostitution. Okay, socialism, it's going to be iffy, right? But worst case scenario, it's going to be completely regulated. Nobody's going to have any choice. Best case scenario, it may be allowed, but it would still be heavily regulated. Capitalism, okay, which, by the way, we don't even have capitalism, but true capitalism. We have crony capitalism, which is a mixed economy of socialism and capitalism. But in a true capitalist society, which is literally ultimate freedom, true voluntary interactions between consenting individuals, worst case scenario, heavily regulated, nobody's allowed prostitution, or is it? No regulation, because there is no regulation, because it's voluntary, there is no centralized authority. So worst case scenario, prostitution is allowed. Best case scenario, prostitution is allowed.
This is like someone who can't follow their own thoughts, and they're just putting
here?
thoughts in front of thoughts.
Do you guys care about freedom?
And
Or
let's
not?
get back to liberty or freedom.
What is, when you're looking at your economic systems, what do each of you
put the most weight on when you're trying to figure out.
Yes,
we have an entire list of shit. Also, that if you want to use social, if you're not going for capitalism, which is what each of us, we're going to say, listen, I believe that every fucking person in this room is an adult and a consenting adult, and I think that they should be able to make whatever decision that they want with another free individual, as long as they're not harming another person or person's property, right? That would be my take. But if you don't want to go with that take, we're going to have to sit here. We're going to have to go through the epistemological.
We're going epistemological.
Normative ethics, what moral theories that we're going to have to apply for the system, what type of roles each of the society is going to have. We're going to have to figure out an agreed amount of ethics. What is harmful and what is beneficial, but first we're going to have to figure out how we identify, and we're all going to have to agree on what is good and what is bad. Then we're going to have to go for the social and the social justice, like, okay, well, is it helping or harming, right? And then ultimately, what should society do? And we all know that the most peaceful option out of all of those is, we're never going to agree all on what we consider to be good. It's all fucking subjective.
Crazy,
Not
right?
everybody's going to become a religious individual and subscribe to one particular religion and say, okay, this is how we define what's good and bad. We know that that's not going to happen. So we're going to have a bunch of people that are going to...
This is what you call run-on sentencing.
And rightfully so, right? Because otherwise, what is our option? We're either going to fight and we're going to kill each other, or we're going to be like, yo, you know what? Believe what you want. As long as you're not harming me or my property, I'm good.
But if you're a person that's taking a position that you should have freedom of expression and independence in the way of thinking, and you can create your own reality, then you should also be able to hold space for women being able to make these types of decisions and not judge them through a misogynist lens of moral and victim blaming and
I put rambling, doesn't even finish the thought, just hyper word nothing.
Right, so people say, hey, the only reason, and I think this was Chris's position, the only reason why these women would be doing these things, because it's majority women, predominantly women in this field, is because of the circumstances that they have experienced, and they're down to this point here. So it's either they have the freedom to express themselves and to do what it is that they perceived is within their own convenience and best interest, or they don't. And I think that that's a problem. I think misogynists should stand up and say women aren't adequate to make good decisions. Women do not have the capability.
Women's are not adequate to make good decisions.
And the only reason why they would is because there's this patriarchy with these larger implications of society that oppress these types of women, and we should protect women.
What platform are you recording this on today?
I disagree that women make bad decisions. That's all I disagree with.
All we got
you too, you pig.
I think if we just stop being little tyrants, mini tyrants, and thinking that we have the best idea of what is good and what is bad, just come together and say, listen, we're going to have our own ideas.
Mike, were I modding, you'd have been gone.
Which we align with, and allow others to associate with which they align with. And as long as we're not harming each other, like, that is our mutual reciprocation. Like, that is what our right should be. As long as you're not harming each other.
Let her finish.
She is finished.
Farewell, pig moron.
She is finished.
Whoever you are.
Yeah, Louis, tell that nigga. She is finished.
Like, what if what I align with conflicts with what you align with?
That's why private property is the ultimate primary principle, right? That's the first out of state of nature, which is we own ourselves. Private property begins with the individual because we're rational, reason beings, right? And then our property is an extension of ourselves, our private property, right?
What if I'm on my private property and I'm blasting music at 3 a.m.? I'm blasting music at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm on my private property, but that's impeding on your private property. You're in your house. You can hear my music blasting every day.
Eye of the sky.
I do it every day. I do it every day. Every day, 3 o'clock. You have work at 6 a.m. Every day, 3 o'clock. I'm blasting music, disrupting your sleep cycle. It's actually fucking you up and fucking your life up. Right, but I'm on my own private property, right?
If that becomes such a big issue, right, then you would have to go with people. You would, like I said, you associate with other people who are going to congregate and contract to say, hey, look, these are the rules. Like, do you know what like those HOA things? That's basically that's what it is. It's a bunch of private
HOA
property
has rules and regulations set for the.
So why are you putting these over that neighborhood?
Right. That's what I'm. Hold on.
Why would I not call the authorities?
Hold on, because
noise or
No, he's pointing out that you have to convene
The real question is, how is an HOA different from you just relocating to another county or a town?
He has to.
Yo, what up, brother? Good to see you again, my guy.
Right.
So
He's
again,
pointing out that in order to silence Louis, he's going to have to convene this larger authority. Something has to happen where people gang up on somebody.
no, it's not. It's not a gang up. It's an association. It's an association. It's a bunch of people. It's me, Pops, and Guava, and Pulp saying, yo, look, listen, we have all this, we have all of this mutual understanding. We have we align with these principles. Why don't we we'll put our money together, we buy this private property, and we contract with each other. We say, okay, this is what we're going to, this is our contract, and you agree to the contract. It's very simple.
Yeah, so now you want to be
Can I get about the law?
Yeah, just wait until the next 17 people go.
No, I don't do that to my guy.
If we found the account, we would remove them from the room. And y'all casually allowed John Edmond to record us for the last hour. And when I put it in the chat, letting y'all know.
Yeah.
So, so Bima, how does that nature?
I think the 3 walls of California, but what are you talking about? 3, this was the fourth one.
So it's now we're kicked.
Damn! Finally, we did it. We got it. And that was a long time. We're gonna go right back in another account. Watch this. This is like how I'm harassing them essentially, but I'm really not harassing them. I'm just trying to get them to admit that they're incredibly stupid.
Shut your stupid ass mouth. Damn! Shut up.
You're talking to
Just need to
You heard that, Monica? That's the fourth one. Stop bringing that up. That's the fourth one.
Okay,
Fuck.
If Mom, me, or Melissa, it wouldn't be an issue. We have all
No, let's not open that shit. You can't control yourself.
I know. It's
I can't control myself.
Oh my gosh, Monica. Fudge, bro. He did take care of it in the chat.
I said till an hour ago, I'm done.
You're right. Just be right in the chat.
Alright, so I have a really quick question to Bima, right? Like, ideologically speaking, right? Isn't an HOA just a mini government? Just a government in a small local form? And isn't the big government just like the same thing, but just like broader and in a much bigger?
No, because the difference is one, everyone's coming together voluntarily. So there is no, if you want to opt out, you can opt out and you can leave.
And then not follow the rules while he lives amongst you, right?
Isn't it the same way, Bima? Isn't it the same with the citizenship as well? Like, you can't just say, like, if you don't like,
So wait, Bima.
Welcome back to another episode of Extreme Low IQ Stupid Clowns Wasting Time.
In order to even be included, it's a contract. So it's just normal contract. You're contracted. And each of you, whatever you write up into the contract is you're going to put those